What's up, guys? Welcome back to MythTalk episode 2. Today we are going to have some conversations about motivation, inspiration, something in that realm. I don't know. We'll see where the conversation takes us. I am Corey. I'm a game artist slash CEO of Mythboard Entertainment. Plug, there it is. Check this out. Awesome. I love it. Down beneath me is that guy right there.
Hey everyone, my name is Ziad. I am a software engineer by trades. I'm the CTO of MythWorld Entertainment. I do game development. I love writing code. It's my thing. Yeah.
And that guy over there.
This guy.
Yes, that guy.
Hey everyone, I'm Brenton Latimer. I'm a YouTuber slash filmmaker slash entrepreneur, maybe. I pretend that I am. And I make short films for my YouTube channel. And that's pretty much all I do. I have no life.
Well, welcome to the club. I mean, well, okay, Ziad has a life, but you and I don't. No, that's for sure. That being said, you being the one with the life, Ziad, come on, you got it all. Me and Brenton, if we won't spiral into this, but for those of you guys who don't know, I have like this system that I live my life by. It's called the 4 pillars. It's maybe one of these days I'll go on some big rant about that, but today is not that day. But in quick summation, what it is I believe you got to have balance in your life in order to achieve like true happiness. And that system, the 4 pillars, I think it's like money, relationships, fitness and health, and then passion and purpose or whatever. So there it is. Now, am I perfect, and do I constantly keep those things in balance? Absolutely not. I spend a lot of time developing this game. I go to the gym a couple of times a week, and I make okay if I make enough money to pay rent. That's it. That's about it. Relationships, whether it's family, friends, or the opposite gender, no, I don't do a lot of that. No, so I'm not achieving. I'm breaking my own rules. But Ziad, please, you're actually younger than both of us up here. So, but from the outside looking in, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but from the outside looking in, you seem to be somebody who has it on lock, who has that balance in their life. Or correct me if I'm wrong.
I try. It is definitely hard to achieve that balance overall, but I mean, I would say if I had like biggest criticism of my own personal things is like health. I don't give that as much attention as I should, as far as like being active and all that, because I'm just writing code and doing that stuff all day. But everything else is just I'm blessed. Things are good. I try to maintain it as much as I can. I love people. I love my family. I love everyone around me. I love my job sometimes, but
sometimes.
Yes. Other than that, everything is great.
I don't know. I feel like you're just too humble. I mean, what was it? It was I feel like I need to stop saying like, oh well, I saw this Asmongold video the other day. I was whatever, because I did that last time, but I'm gonna do it again. I was like literally just watching one today where it was some. It's not that he said it; it's that somebody in the video said it. Where it's like, oh, if you want to be like the world's like I don't know. They said like if you want to be the world's richest person or whatever, you're not going to be the world's healthiest person. Or if you want to be the world's healthiest person, you're not going to be the world's this kind of person or whatever. And it's essentially, you could swap this out, swap that out, whatever. The point is that like, in order to achieve excellence in one area of your life, you kind of have to make some sacrifices in others in order to achieve that. Do you think that statement is correct, or do you have any fundamental disagreements with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I believe that you can only like master one or two things, and everything else you're gonna be average at. Hopefully above average is the goal, right? Like I don't want to be the best athlete and the best developer in the world and like have the best friendships and relationships in the world or whatever, but I want to be the best in one or two of these things, and I want to be good enough in the rest of it. That's I feel like that's how you achieve it, because at the end of the day you have 24 hours and you have to segment it in some sort of way. And if you give everything equal attention, then you're not going to be a master of anything, but you're just going to have to allocate more time to one thing and compromise on another thing. But that doesn't mean that you have to not be good at that other thing. You just have to learn how to be more efficient at it
Mm-hmm.
to, be at least above average. But yeah, I agree with that statement generally. Of course, you can't master everything and be the best at everything.
So, what are these 1 to 2 things that you specifically want to master? You're okay with being good at other things, but you do want to be a master at 1 to 2 things. What are those?
Yeah, so career wise, that's that. I guess that's one of my highest priorities, and family wise, I'd say those
Mm.
are like my top two. And when I say career, I don't mean like a job specifically or whatever it is, but just achievements and being able to get things done, being
Mm-hmm.
able to produce things is what I'm aiming for here. And the better I get at that, the more efficient I get at it, the more of uh, a discography I have, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, of things that I've put out that have done well, and done well. I don't even like care about all this. Millions of people have to have interacted with it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more. This is something I'm proud of. This is something I'll look back on and think I did a good job with this. That's the top of my priority. Health is obviously up there, but I guess
Mm-hmm.
is not as prioritized as the other things.
Yeah.
If I would sacrifice a bit on that, but that doesn't mean that I want to be like below average on health. I want to be
Yeah.
average or slightly above average at least.
So, you're actually saying then, if, let's say hypothetically, right? I don't think that this is the case, but let's entertain it here for 2 seconds. If
Yeah.
somebody were to say to you, hey, all you got to do is become, I, I don't know what, I don't follow health trends or whatever to know, technically speaking, what would be like, oh, okay, that's really bad. But let's say, I don't know, 300 pounds or something. I could be wrong about that. But let's say they say, okay, you're going to be 300 pounds, but you'll be the best, software engineer. You'll be the best programmer. Like, are you going to make that trade? Or is that not worth it to master that?
Definitely not worth it.
No? No?
Definitely not worth it. I guess. No, because again, you sacrificing something, or it means I'm shaving a bit off the top. Doesn't mean that I'm
Mm-hmm.
completely deleting it from my life, or I'm just like have to dip all the way down.
Yeah.
Because if I was to be super unhealthy, anyways, then I wouldn't be the greatest software developer or whatever in the world. Like that, those two things. I don't think those two things can exist as well, at least, because now you have a hindrance where I'm not energetic enough. I'm not able to do more things. I'm not able to move. I'm not able to go and meet with other people that would like elevate me and help me be better at it. And I it is. I don't know. I just don't believe that trade would exist in that kind of way. And even if it did, even let's say yes, I can achieve it by just sitting here and not moving for the rest of my life, and just all I do is write code or whatever it is. It's still not worth it because now I'm successful, or whatever. I'm not gonna get to enjoy it. I don't care as much about like what people think of me after I'm gone or whatever it is. I more think about my current life and how I can, just do the best that I can at the moment.
Yeah. That's that's a good, respectable answer. Brendan, what about you? What about you? Same kind of question.
Even was the original
Well, I guess the
question.
original question is it's essentially that going back to that thing that I or whatever that I heard in the Asmongold video where it's like, oh, that person was saying something about like if you can't or like
Oh yeah.
you can be the best, the most fit person in the world, but you won't be the most rich person, or you can be the most rich person, but then you won't be the most fit person. Essentially, this
Mhm.
idea of like it is balance the goal in life, or is mastery the goal in life, even if it comes at the cost of balance? Where do you sit
Mhm.
on this kind of side of the debate?
Well, this just lies in the individual. There's a lot of people. It's probably too few people, actually. I think that just strive for a normal, balanced life. I think that a lot of people in a lot of people growing up now have these delusions of grandeur, and they don't want that normal, balanced life. But there's a lot of happiness to be had in that. But it's absolutely correct that yeah, if you want to be the richest or you want to be the most fit, you cannot be the best at all four pillars at the same time. But the nice thing is being unbalanced in life is usually more of a temporary thing. It's more of a temporary state of affairs. So let's say you decided to focus entirely on being the most fit person that you possibly could be. So for a time, you're going to lack in your relationships, you're going to lack financially. Um what's the other one?
Passion, purpose.
Passion, purpose. Oh, maybe that is your passion and purpose.
Oh yeah.
So you're mixing orange and red. You're mixing your passion and purpose with your fitness, and you get to be as fit as you possibly can be. And then because you do that, you get a job as a personal trainer. Now you're taken care of financially, and maybe you also meet uh you also meet someone who does personal training as well, or works in that field that you work in, and you fall in love with them and you get married, and you also make friends in the industry that you're in. So suddenly, or not suddenly, but over time, your life starts to balance out. But I do think that there is a period, especially in the 20s, usually, that you're going to be pretty unbalanced. And it is best to prioritize one pillar over all others. Doesn't mean you need to let all the others go, but set very clear priorities. Because if you just try and inch one pillar forward at a time, you're going to find that you're not getting anywhere, and you're going to be all over the place and unfocused in life. It's best to go hard on one and let the others almost fall into place. That is kind of a simplification of it, but that's how I feel on that.
Yeah. I mean, you make a solid point. I mean, there's nothing really that I couldn't say that doesn't just validate what you're saying. Where the kind of, I would argue that the tentative like thesis here is that like it's all it is it's risk reward, right? It's risk reward. Like, do you can it doesn't actually matter which direction you choose. It's still a risk whether you realize it or not. Like, do you want to, because let's look at it like this. You have, again, you have your money, you have your fitness, you have your career, your passion, your hobby, your purpose, whatever that one category you want to call is, and then you have your relationships. Let's say you're like, okay, well, I don't want to make any sacrifices in any of these categories. I want to push all of them at the same time. That's not it's an admirable pursuit, but you have to realize if you're dividing your day up into 25% here, 25% there, 25% there, and 25% there, you're going to move what is that, 75% slower than the person, right, that is putting 100% into, or 25% slower, I don't know, whatever, math. You're going to move, a lot less fast than the person who goes, I'm going to put, you know 100% of today into fitness or whatever. No family, no hobbies, no, no career, no money, none of that. I'm just going to work out. Like, that is the thing. That person is going to get fit quicker than you. And so if you're trying, let's say you're trying to achieve excellence in all four of these areas of your life or whatever, um, at least this other kind of method where you go all in on one, you could argue that who knows, maybe that's the safer route because you have a higher chance of at the very least achieving excellence in one category. Whereas if you're trying to do all four at the same time, who knows, because you're good at multitasking or whatever, and you have a very organized, balanced life. Maybe because you were juggling four at the same time, you land four home runs or whatever, right? You nail that kind of ultimate. I achieved excellence in family and purpose and health and money. You did it in all of them because you didn't make any compromises or whatever, or sacrifices. You didn't leave the others behind. You took them with you, so you didn't create a bunch of debt. Like, you didn't accrue a bunch of debt. If you, uh, let's say you just you're going green pillar, you're going money, finances. That's all I'm going to do is I'm going to make money. It's like, well, you might not literally be accruing like financial debt, but you're going to accrue a different kind of debt. if that's all you do. You know, your health and fitness is going to fail. Um, assuming that you're not making money off of fighting or sports or MMA or whatever, right? Generally, obviously, there's uh, exceptions to the rule that I'm not highlighting. I'm talking about generally speaking, right? When you separate the categories, you're not like combining them together for like maximum efficiency or whatnot. Um, but odds are that like if you go really hard in one category, you're accruing debt in others that you are going to have to pay back later, whether you like it or not, or you won't. In which case, you're just going to take a big fat L in that category of whether it's fitness or relationships or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting kind of. It doesn't. It seems it seems to me that no matter what you do in life, you're taking a risk. Whether you want to go the I'm gonna get it all route, or I'm gonna at least just get this one thing. If you just go after this one thing, sure, you might be increasing your odds of getting that thing, but you're also increasing your odds of losing out on all of those other things. So I guess the thesis here really is just hey, like choose your battles, pick your hill. I don't know. Do you guys have
Yeah,
anything
it
to?
depends on your goals as well. Like I
Yeah.
don't believe or think that everyone's goal should be I want to be the best in the world at something or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. That is like first maybe that wasn't the exact intention from the sentence, but I don't think comparison is good. That you should be the best in the world, which means you have to be better than everyone else or whatever it is, or at least a large subset of people. Which if you're tying your own success and happiness with things that are outside of your control, which are these other people and how well or not well they do or whatever it is, then that's I don't know. I think it's unnecessary a lot of the time, but at least when if you're setting your goals and comparing to your own progress to yourself, whatever it is, right? So you don't have to have that amazing high goal in every single category, right? You can have it. You're okay with being average at this, or you want to be average at everything, and that's also completely fine. Like you don't have to necessarily want to be like amazing at one particular thing, and in that case, whatever it is just manage expectations, that your goals as you want them, and then build your life to be able to move towards that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Brent, did you have anything else to say on the matter, or I have another question I can ask us.
Mhm. I was kind of feeling the same way that Ziad was feeling. Like,
Yeah.
it does depend on your own personal goals. Like,
Mm.
I would love to live a bit more of a balanced life, but with the lifestyle that I require right now is one that is not balanced. I need to focus as much as I can on film, and I want to maintain a good physical condition while I do so, and try and maintain the relationships that I have. But really, the priority is just film, 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 more film.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone not only wants that, but needs that either. I mean, let's say you just want to work a normal job, desk job, blue collar, white collar, whatever it is, and you just want to work a normal job, make a good salary, raise a family, have a house. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of people that do that, and for those people, I would definitely recommend getting a balanced life going. What you shouldn't be doing, whether you want to live a balanced life or an unbalanced life, whether you want to be excellent at something or just good at a few things, you need to have purpose and you need to have priorities and you need to not waste your time on this planet. So do something with your life. Uh, that's really that's what I would say is important
Yeah.
is pick your goal. But I do believe you have to have a goal.
Clear vision.
Otherwise, yeah, you need
Mm.
to have a clear vision.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
if you're still building that vision, work on building that, but have something that you're going for. Don't stagnate. be headed in
Yeah.
a direction.
Don't do that thing, or I don't know, Ziad, you might disagree with me on this, but don't do that thing where it's like you just kind of you sit around and you wait, and you're like, oh, okay, my vision for the future, or my vision for the future, my plan for life, my purpose, or whatever. Like it'll just kind of come to me eventually, nondescript time frame of
Mm-mm.
I'll figure it out. Like no, have a plan. Like right now. Like
Yeah,
if you wake up
I've fallen
today,
into this trap.
yeah, if you wake up today and you don't know what you're doing with your life, that's I don't know. I think that's a really big problem. Like because it's like sailing without a heading. It's like, well, you're gonna run out of rations at some point. The crew's gonna get scurvy, and we're all gonna go mad, and we're gonna the sun. You got to know where you're sailing to. So pick an island and sail there. And it's like, oh, well, what if that island is the wrong choice? Well, then at at least you made landfall somewhere instead of dying at sea. I mean, good for you. Like it's better to,
Yeah.
land on an island full of cannibals as opposed to drowning at sea because that would suck.
Well,
I mean, both of
imagine
those would
you
suck,
step
but that's a
imagine
metaphor.
you step on board a ship. You're a sailor and you're looking for your next ship to be a crew on, and you step on board a ship and you're like, all right, Captain, where are we going? And the captain's like, oh, I don't know. We'll see where the wind takes us. You're gonna get right off that ship.
And you're going into the Pacific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just gonna go into the Pacific and see where we're headed.
Uh huh.
It's like, okay, peace. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Nobody's getting on board that ship.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything yet, or question time?
No, let's go with the question.
All right, question time. All right, so here's the pitch, right? We got a lot of different creatives here in this call, right? We're all creatives, we're all entrepreneurs, right? My canvas is Photoshop. Ziad, your canvas it's Visual Studio, right? Is that what it is? Is that where you program? Where do you program numbers
It's
into?
a lot of different things, but just IDs. Let's go with
IDs.
that.
There you go. That's your canvas, and Brenton, your canvas is Premiere Elements and cameras. So we're all
Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro.
Thank you very
Sorry,
much, but
sorry,
yeah,
sorry about that.
Hard.
we'll go with that.
Yeah, we're all young people. We're all in our 20s. Some of us don't have much time left in that bracket. For now, we're all in our 20s. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all creatives, and we've all been at it for multiple years. Are any of us crazy successful? Varying degrees, not really, but but does that mean that like I don't know. I would presume it doesn't really matter how successful you are. If you were on your deathbed tomorrow, you're gonna try to tell someone something. You're gonna leave something behind. So that's what this call is. I'm gonna take you guys all out tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. The point is here is the question. You're a creative. You're an entrepreneur. You get one piece of advice. One. That's it. That's if it's written on your tombstone at the end of your lifetime or whatever. This is like the thing. If you could install one lesson into a disciple or whatever, this would be it. Your key to the palace. This is what you think is going to be the thing that makes or breaks a person in their in finding success in their life. So Ziad, do you have an answer to this question?
Yes.
Okay.
My number one piece of advice I would say is that you should invest your time. You should look at time as a resource that you can invest and get something out of it, right? Like let's think of this as in the financial sense, right? If you have $10,000 or whatever, you decide to invest that $10,000. There are varying like levels of riskiness that you can put this investment in. You can do something like super safe in that, and you would get like a smaller return, right? And you can put it in something a bit more wild, and the wilder it is, the varying degree of success you're gonna get, right? So I feel like time should be looked at a lot in a similar fashion, right? So if you look at something like safe with your time that you can do as an investment is just traditional education as an example. If you go and you focus and you sit down and you study and do all these kind of things, the returns are fairly expected to be a certain kind of way, right? And then still a safe return, but less safe would be to just educate yourself outside of that. Although you're not getting a certificate or whatever, but you're learning new skills that you can do things with, right? And then I'd say at the craziest of that scale is entrepreneurship, where you're just dumping so much resources and all of that and a lot of time into it, and you don't really know if it's going to pay off or not. But I believe that still like a very good investment of time because you're learning so much through it. Like that's in these skills maybe pays off or not. You don't know that. Like you have no idea. But at the end of the day, it will pay off in some place in your life, right? Whatever skills you're gonna learn are gonna pay off. They're gonna make you a better person. You're gonna be able to make better decisions and other things, even if it's not directly related to whatever field you're in. So time invested because that same hour that you can sit down and play video games in, if you sit down and work in it or learn something new or do whatever, it will take you further in life than just playing that video game. That's just time that you're wasting. Exactly like if you just spend that $10,000 or something. Though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's brilliant. That's one for the ages right there. Brenton, do you got yours ready or should I go?
Well, I feel like this might be a bit redundant, but it's hard to say because there's so much good advice that you could give someone.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say to someone, take yourself and your time very seriously.
Yeah.
So you have limited time, so take it seriously, but also take yourself seriously. It is good to listen to others, but you need to not let them so far into your head that you become putty that can be molded by other people. And I don't just mean other people as in your relationships, but also corporations trying to get you to consume, trying to get your attention. Uh, you know, lots of people on social media could be trying to get your attention to buy products or take part in some political organization. You got to decide what you care about and take that seriously. Uh, a person who takes themselves seriously and takes their time seriously is not going to start doom scrolling for 2 hours because there's no, like Ziad said, there's no reward for that investment of time. They're gonna invest their time so that way the reward that they get out of it is worth several times the amount of time that they put into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of a short answer, but pretty self-explanatory. Just take yourself seriously.
Yeah. Doesn't make it less
That
correct.
makes sense.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna be the
Yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna be the wild card here. I'm gonna go a little bit against the grain here. Look, to start off by a warning, that guy down there and that guy over there, they are perfectly sane, rational, stable human beings. Here's the problem: is this guy right here? There's a T-Rex on my wall, and I live in a jungle forest. So if this isn't already sending you guys like mixed signals, that it should be. Um, I'm a person. Jumping off of what Brenton just said there, I take myself very seriously. In fact, I take myself so seriously that one might say I am willing to die for my beliefs. And that, whether, I don't know if my advice is going to work for everybody, but it might work for some people, so I'll say it anyways. If this doesn't work for you, that's fine. Disregard it, throw it in the trash. That's great. Move on. But for that one person out there that's listening to me speak right now, and like I know if I resonate with you, then like, hey, hold on to this. Like I'm a person like anyone else. Like anyone else, I've had struggles in my life with whether it's family or friends, whether, losing people or financial hardship at times, bad living situations, etc. I've, you know, I've been through a lot in my personal life. And so I kind of reached a point, a couple years ago. Like I've always been, ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to make video games. I knew I wanted to be an artist. Like I would say actually, if anything, I'm quite blessed. I'm quite thankful in that category because for some reason I got pretty damn lucky. And we're talking about finding your purpose or whatever, discovering what it is that you want to do. I already had the answer to that question when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I've never wavered from that for 20 plus years. So I've always been very, very direct and driven towards the thing that I want. But I think for me personally, right, it's like I spent a lot of my early life, I had hard times, and then I would cope with those hard times with loved ones and video games and food and different things like that. It's like, oh, I had a really bad day at work, or oh, my, mom or somebody was really mean to me. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go spend time with dad instead, or I'm gonna go spend time with the girlfriend, or I'm gonna go play video games. I'm gonna go play World of Warcraft with the boys or something. It's like I had hard times, and so I had to get even, right? I had to get vengeance on life for, life was mean to me. Well, I now I have to have fun as a form of payback against life. And uh, that's not a bad idea, actually. Like, despite, I wasn't going to pull a twist there. I'm going to say, actually, I don't think I was doing anything wrong, but I wasn't doing enough. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You're right. Like, this is my ideology, my philosophy here that I'm pouring out, right? Is you're right. Life did target you, you know, hey, maybe you didn't have great parents, or maybe you had a breakup, or maybe you lost someone that was close to you, a car accident or something. It's life. It happens. Like, you're going to constantly be mistreated or get things taken away from you in your life. And the only way you are going to make sure that that suffering wasn't pointless, because let's face it, like, you're going to suffer in your life. There's no way out of it. If not now, if not today, then tomorrow. And I think um, while suffering is a very useful teacher, it's a very useful mentor to get you to be a better person and get you to become that person faster. Um, I think I'm all for having suffering every now and then. It's quite useful, but you need to. What I'm not okay with is being helpless. Do not be a helpless victim. Do not let life show up on your doorstep and take your dog, take your girlfriend, take your mom, take your dad, take your whatever. Don't let life show up and take things from you, and then take it sitting down and be helpless about it. Um, you deserve more than that. You're not a bad person. You weren't born evil. You were born just as great as anyone else, because everyone in this world is great, more or less. With There's some exceptions to that, but that's not what this video is about. More or less, everybody is great and everybody's equal, and you don't deserve to suffer. No one does. Newsflash: nobody deserves to suffer. And so, if one person is going to get you out of that hole, it's you. So you need to stop just like coping with the losses that you've suffered, and you need to create a war plan to start recuperating losses. And you need to take the fight to life, take it back against it. I need you to go out, and I need you to get that job that you've always wanted, and I need you to go and get that marriage that you've always wanted, and I need you to go and get that body that you've always wanted to have, or whatever. You need to do these things because no one is going to give them to you. You have to get up and you have to take it by force. And like I said, you can't be helpless. And I realize I've been ranting X amount of minutes or whatever, and I don't think I really answered the question, because I do this thing where I have to like give all this context and all of this, like, this build up or lead up or whatever to what I'm actually trying to say. What I'm actually trying to say, my one piece of advice is you have to be willing to die for it. That's my advice. It's very melodramatic, but I'm a very dramatic person. I believe this in this idea that it's like, right, it's like stop thinking that your life is so valuable and so precious that you should sit here and cherish the little moments and the happy moments and have a great day, like prioritizing like your own personal satisfaction and comfort on a day by day basis to make sure that you're as happy as possible. That's a losing battle because if you sit there and you waste time all day just trying to chase happiness in the little things, I think the storm is going to come and it's going to knock you on your ass and you're done for when that storm comes. So I think it's a much better way to live is to who build build your muscles, build the boat, right? Who's going to carry the logs? You need to build a boat that is you. You're the boat, right? You need to build a boat that can weather the storm. And I think that's like the noblest of aspirations because I think if you do that and you do it well, not only will you save yourself the all of that potential future suffering that you could have to endure if you wasted too much time in your life not taking it seriously, right? Not only are you going to save yourself from that storm, but you could also get the honor and the privilege to save a few more people along the way as well. Which because I'm like I said when I started speaking, I acknowledge that not everyone is going to have the tenacity, the grit, the determination to accomplish what it is that I'm saying. Some people will be helpless. And that's just a fact. I me saying, oh, everyone's born equal or whatever, maybe that's more of an idealistic truth that I just aspire to believe. But realistically, I don't know. Like I'm I'm sure everybody, not only in this call, but everybody watching this, you know someone in your life right now that no matter how many times you try to help them and you give them the answers to the test, they just keep getting F's every single time. And is it your responsibility to guide to be that person's tutor and to take the test for them? No, but if you build a really big boat and you can save all of these people from the storm, why not like have enough room on there for that one guy that just he just couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure it out. Um, it's maybe at the end of the day, like everybody has an excuse, and maybe that person's excuse is valid. Like who am I to judge? Maybe that person had it way worse than me. Like all the reasons I have to complain or whatever about my life or whatever, there's probably a billion people out there that have had it way worse than me. And if you're telling me right now, um, I should push myself to not only build the boat for myself, but maybe I can help out a couple of those people too that they didn't have it as good as I had it, and so I can try to help them. I would love to do that. I would love to have enough power and ability in my life to be able to help those people. It seems like a noble aspiration. I feel like there's a little bit of a trap here. Like I'm drifting because there's a little. I'm kind of like writing and then I go back and I erase something I wrote, because it's like, well, but if you start saving people from the storm and saving them from suffering, then how are they supposed to learn the lessons for themselves? And then they never get to build their own boat or whatever. You're kind of robbing them of that experience by kind of holding their hand through life or whatever. And then we get into the whole nother gray area where it's like, okay, well, but who gets who determines who has the authority or the leadership potential or the power or whatever to be the one to have the license or whatever to help out other people, right? It's like gets into a whole gray area, but yeah, that's my answer. Be willing to die for it. Build your boat strong, and yeah. Do you guys have any comments or anecdotes? Or
Oh, that makes sense. The only thing I wanted to kind of emphasize is
Sure.
the idea that like happiness shouldn't be a goal; it is a consequence, right? Which is this, it kind of mirrors what
Ah.
you're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if because it's very difficult. Like happiness is, I believe that a lot of it is a chemical process. It's not like I do 1, 2, 3, I am happy. I can sit down and
Mm-hmm.
do the same action at 10 different days and I feel completely different every time I do them, right? So it should be, your goal should be to build your life or kind of improve things and have the environment around you that you've built. It's not geared toward happiness, but if it is the correct kind of environment, it will induce happiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
and that you built that through hard work and through investing your time into doing as much as you can to move your life forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my pug is starting to snore, so hopefully he is not interfering with my audio. Okay, he's quiet again. Anyways, I actually, you bring up the way that you mentioned that makes me kind of want to bring up this other thing. So, um, he who shall not be named. Let's just say I know someone. Let's say I know someone, and they have this kind of this mentality that just absolutely drives me crazy. And I want your guys' opinion on it because I think it would be a funny topic to discuss. I have this person that I know that, right, they have like this very fixed kind of worldview where essentially things are only they're only valuable if suffering was endured to attain them, right? And it's like it's a very fixed thing where it's like he actually overlooks the achievement and only asks the question, well, how much did you suffer though to get it? And if the answer to that question is a low amount of suffering, then it's not valuable. Then the victory is not valuable. It's victory can only be measured by how much suffering did you attain to get it. And I feel like there's a little bit of wisdom, like a little bit in that statement. Like I understand, like for example, like I feel like we mentioned this last podcast, but I'll say it one more time. There's a difference between you're playing Ark Survival Evolved, right? And you have cheat codes, and you like just spawn in a tamed dino. You name him Billy or whatever. And it's like a dragon or something. It's like, do you really appreciate that dinosaur, or do you appreciate the dinosaur that was like it took you 12 hours to tame, and you were like scrambling to get narcotics the entire time, and there was like mosquitoes attacking it, and you had to like build a big cage for it, and you had to do all this stuff, and it took 12 hours to tame it. And then you finally have that dinosaur. It's like which of the two do you value more? So sure, like in theory, I understand the concept. It's like some things in life or whatever can only be perceived as valuable if suffering was endured in order to obtain it. But I don't know. There's layers to this. Do you guys have a comment on it, or should I go more?
Uh, no, I believe there is wisdom to it. It's not always the case,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it's like even like if we think about someone, let's say you heard of someone and this person has like $10 million or whatever it is. If you heard that that person worked hard for years and like built an amazing company and whatever and did all that kind of stuff, you'd be a lot more impressed than if you heard that person won the lottery or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's I so there is some truth to it, and also as you said, like you feel a lot that this thing that was won through suffering is a lot more valuable. um but I don't think it should be our rule of measuring things, because I'm 100% sure that you can't, like, across the board use that measuring system for
Yeah.
everything.
The thing that bothers me about it so much is this person in particular, right? He will essentially, I would argue that, right, there's the kind of the more like glass half full side of it, which is what we're talking about with this kind of like concept of like appreciation over the journey or the trials and tribulations of in order to achieve victory in a category, in a field or whatever. And so it's like, yeah, there is that should be given a proper amount of like respect and consideration. This idea of the journey and the sacrifices and what a person had to endure in order to attain something. But then on the flip side of this, the glass half empty, which is this person that I'm talking about, this is how they really use it most of the time. This person essentially uses this as kind of like a victim radar. You know, he will use this as a means to kind of, if a person has any advantages in their life, any privileges or any advantages, then that person no longer gets a vote. They're not allowed to speak. Their opinion means nothing. Their point of view is invalid because they don't understand what it's like to have to truly go through a process or whatever. You don't know what it's like or whatever to I'm not saying I don't live with my parents, right? But that would essentially be saying, oh, you have a 30-year-old that lives with their parents, and then you have a 30-year-old that pays rent, and that's the 30-year-old that pays rent or whatever. He would be condemning the 30-year-old that lives with his parents and saying, well, you don't have the right to talk to me about anything because I actually have to pay rent and be responsible adult or whatever, and I have to suffer in all these different ways or whatever in life, and you don't. So therefore, like, I have my victim badge is shining bright and glorious. My adult badge or whatever is shining bright and glorious, and you don't have that. So therefore, you're just lesser than me. It's like this kind of mentality, right, where you use like your own suffering in your own life, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, you use it as a cudgel to essentially make other people feel bad for exercising the advantages that they might have in their life. You know, like, hey, if your mom does own a cookie company or something and she makes good money and then she uses that money to help you pay for college, it's like you're not I don't think you're an idiot or you're stupid or something for, yeah, let your mom pay for your college. Like, I get it. Yeah, there's a lot of intrinsic, character building kind of values in the journey that it would take for you to pay for your own college. But also, like, we're talking idealistically there. Realistically, you being a smart capitalist or whatever, and taking your mom's, essentially in this situation, your mom's donation, grant, handout, whatever you want to call it, whatever floats your boat, whatever label you want to stick on it. But if this is genuinely what she wants for you or whatever, and she did that cookie company for you, it's like, hey, take the money, put yourself through college, and if you pay her back after, there you go. There's two birds with one stone. There's a way to shut that other guy up, But like, I don't know. This topic drives me insane. I have little tolerance for people kind of showing up with their "my life is harder than you" label on their forehead, and then they use that as a way to kind of shut you down and belittle you. I've encountered a couple of these people, but Brendan, do you got anything on this?
Well, I know this person that you're speaking of.
What?
I've
No.
heard plenty about them. And it's hard to separate the statement from the actual person because I know that this person, every statement they make is layered in hypocrisy. There was a time where in the same conversation that you were having with this person, I had just gotten pulled over and gotten my first ticket
Mm-hmm.
after 5 years of driving while avoiding that. And I actually can't believe that it took me 5 years to get a ticket.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you speed all the time.
absolutely. Uh this guy or this
Go ahead,
person,
the guy. Sure.
this dude, uh was just arrested for
Mm-hmm.
drunk driving.
Yep.
He got a DUI
Yes, he did.
and he was complaining, saying that other people do this kind of stuff all the time, but he got the short end of the stick
Yep.
because he got caught.
Because he's just unlucky. Yep.
Because he's just unlucky. And then in that conversation, you brought up, oh wow, Brenton actually just got pulled over and gotten a ticket because he was going 74 in a 60. And so what he said, you remember what he said?
I remember this. Yeah.
Oh, 74 and a 60? He was asking for it.
He was asking for. Oh no! People drive home a little tipsy all the time or whatever. They're picking on me. I'm an innocent victim. Wait, you were driving 74 miles in a 60? Wow, yeah, you were asking to get pulled over. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
And this was in the fast lane on the freeway, I wasn't
yeah.
I wasn't driving recklessly. I was just driving fast, which
And
is a little reckless.
also
But
you're only a couple of miles away from a 70 zone. Like, so it's really like,
yeah,
yeah, you're right there because it was like probably on your way home from work, right? or something.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on my way home from work.
Yeah. So
It was when we would drop off the product every night. So I was heading to my
gotcha.
grandma's house.
Gotcha.
But like,
Yep.
you know,
Oh yeah, so
yeah,
you
I
were
was about
really
70.
close to a 70 zone, and so it's yeah.
Yeah, I was like half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away.
You know, am I dumb
But
for
you know,
thinking that like the whole purpose of like the kind of speeding stuff is to catch people who are really breaking it, not people who are barely inching over it? I mean, come on, you know?
well, I'm going
No,
14 miles
No,
over it.
no,
no.
you
I
don't think
mean,
so?
I think there's like leeway within like 5 miles an hour above the
Mm.
speed limit, but after that, like you're speeding for
You
real.
can go like 8 to 10 over on the freeway.
That's the thing that
I
bothers
drive
me though,
past
is because
police.
I'll be driving
I drive
70
past
and I'll
police all
see
the time.
people flying by me all the time, and I'm driving
Yeah,
70
but
at a
that
60.
doesn't mean that they're. I see. Okay, I was gonna
They
give an
usually those
example that I
people
shouldn't.
usually have a lot of
Yeah,
tickets on
go
their
ahead.
record.
That's
Honestly,
the point. Like
yeah.
I see stuff like obviously like stuff like that, but that doesn't make it right. You know, people do that.
Guess. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're like if a cop sees something illegal, it's not that 100% of the time they're gonna enforce whatever that is,
Mm-hmm.
but they have the option to if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's
And the
like a lot
cop did let
of
me off the hook.
Oh wow,
Like
really?
he kind of, yeah, he gave me a 10 over instead of a 14 over,
Oh.
which lowered the ticket fee.
Huh. Okay. Well,
So,
yeah, it's better than nothing. Yeah. Well.
yeah.
interesting. But yeah, I think it's kind of to kind of bring it back to
Yeah.
what you're saying. I think these two concepts should be separated though. Like
Mhm.
the idea of that more hard work or suffering or whatever makes something more valuable, and everything that this person is doing, those are not the kind of, they're not linked, I guess. Like that's the reasoning they use, but that doesn't mean that that's actually what they're doing. It's more of hypocrisy and victim mentality and this and that and a bunch of stuff, but the idea at its core, I don't think it's the issue here, if that makes sense. I
Sure.
think it's just
Yeah.
the usage of
If
it, kind of like how, again, no, never mind. I'm not gonna use that example.
So,
Okay.
so with the idea at its core, then you would say that you do agree with it.
I think is generally correct. Not always, but generally it is more rewarding, and it feels more earned when you achieve things, get things that you've worked harder for them.
That's
I
interesting.
can tell
You
you
know, the
that.
reason why it's so interesting that you in particular are saying that is because, like, I've noticed, you know, a little bit of a trend with you. Like, if you roll it back to the last podcast or whatever, right, where you and I were talking about, like AI or whatever, and then at one point we mentioned this kind of fantasy weight loss pill or whatever is what we mentioned last time, and I was like, my problem with that was like, I was like, well, you could take the fantasy weight loss pill. You just take the pill, and then it gives you that perfect body or whatever that you want. You don't actually have to like work out for it or whatever. And I was like, my case against it was, I was like, I feel like people are going to lose the appreciation or understanding of what it is to have to like get that body or whatever. And then you're like, well, we'll just invent a second pill that gives you the feeling of that, like you did that or whatever. So that's so this the fact that it kind of sounds to me like you're going back on it almost.
I'm not
No?
we're talking a hypothetical, and
Okay.
that hypothetical you could get that feeling regardless, right? But in reality, that is not a thing, right? It's the only way
Gotcha.
to get that feeling is to be able to achieve these things yourself,
But
right?
actually do it,
Again, not a rule, but
Mm-hmm.
generally I think it is correct, anecdotally, and kind of the observing the world around me, I think is,
Yeah.
that's how generally it is.
Yeah,
Well,
I have something to say on
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Because like I would take that pill. I would still work out for the health benefits. Like let's say the pill only gives you the aesthetics of a good body.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would still work out for the benefits to your health. But
What if it gave you the health too?
yeah,
So you were still working out or no?
you give me an opportunity to make my life extremely efficient. Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Let's go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I wanted to say that links perfectly into this, is that this statement is true, but let's not forget that like the suffering that you go through should be because you're setting the bar high and you're shooting for the stars with your goal, not
Mhm.
because you're setting a realistic goal and then you're just making it really hard on yourself to actually get there.
Yeah.
And a shockingly large amount of people do this, including the individual that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, they only care about the suffering without having the self-awareness to realize that a lot of this suffering is self-inflicted. And if you would
Mm.
just learn to start getting a little smarter, start getting a little wiser, start being a little bit more emotionally mature and not taking things so personally, you
Yeah.
could cut out a lot of this unnecessary suffering. So that way, if you've cut out all this unnecessary suffering, now you have room for so much more suffering that could be better used on things that are actually giving you rewards back.
Yeah. You know, there's an interesting thing here where it's like, I think it's beautiful. We only have a couple of minutes left, so I'll try to make it brief because I also want to hear your guys' like quick thoughts on it. You could almost tie, ironically enough, not that we're about to make this whole podcast a series where we talk about AI all the time, but it is a hot button issue. So, and it actually, I think it actually ties neatly back into everything that we're saying right here, because you could almost argue that, like, you know, Ziad, I've heard you say it. You know, you strongly believe that you're also going to get replaced in programming when it comes to AI eventually. Like it's going to happen. Maybe I'll get replaced before you, but it doesn't matter whether I get replaced a year from now, then you're right after being 5 or whatever. You know, who knows what the time frame is on that. But the point here is that, and even then, it's like replaced is a strong word. I think maybe, I mean, Ziad, you'd know more about it than I would, but sure, maybe we will all legitimately be entirely replaced from the process in 50 something years or whatever, 30 years, maybe even less, whatever. But I think in the next decade or so, it's not that we'll be entirely replaced, but our a lot of that kind of busy work or steps of the process will be automated through the use of AI. So we will be stepping into more of a directorial role where, you know, I don't have to animate everything in the game by hand, or I don't have to paint every texture by hand or do every illustration by hand. But I do need to use the AI tools in front of me properly to get the illustration that I believe is right. I'll have to be, instead of being an artist, I'll have to be an art director, and I'll have to make sure that these AI tools or whatever are producing the product that I need. Renton, I think that the same thing is going to happen with you in film. It's like you'll start getting like special effects shots or sound or music or whatever. Like you'll start getting all of these aspects of your pipeline or whatever are going to start getting replaced. Ziad, same thing with you.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I'm the least intimately familiar how that would take shape in your process. Um, but ultimately, like what I'm talking about here is we're not talking about, you know, uh, you could argue that, right? It's like, well, if 10 years from now, I'm not painting pictures anymore. Like I used to, I would spend 12 hours a day, 30 hours a week, you know, 100 hours a month or whatever, painting characters and stuff. And sure, I could do that 10 years from now. But why would I spend, you know, 30 hours a week painting one picture when I can use an AI tool or whatever that gives me the exact thing that I have in my mind, the exact picture that I want, the exact art style, and it turns out better than the painting that I produced, like for the consumers, right? I'm creating products for consumers. I'm trying to, you know, run a company here, and you're telling me that I could just use this AI tool to get 20 times the results with 1% of the effort. You know, is it not suicide for me to waste any more time, like actually indulging the process of suffering and going through all that, or just embrace automation and cut the suffering part out, the journey part out, just cut it all out for all three of us. Like we're probably racing towards the inevitable future here in a couple of years where our suffering and our workloads are greatly reduced and everything is just automized by AI.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
think
think they'll
that's
just be
somewhat.
replaced.
All right, who? Brendan, go first. What?
Go for it, Brenton. Go for it.
I think I lost connection for a moment.
Yeah, your face is still.
Uh,
Oh, you're good.
okay.
Yep.
I think they'll just be replaced. The suffering, the workloads, we're always going to have a heavy workload because it's always going to be a competitive industry, no matter which one the three of us are trying to go into. They're
Yep.
competitive industries, and the advent of AI is not going to make it so that we can just sit back on our
Butts.
heels and
Oh, yeah.
back on our butts and just chill out. It will make things more accessible, but like look at how accessible video game development has become
Yeah.
over the last 15, 20
Mm-hmm.
years. You can make video games in your home now. You can do that back in the day.
More or less,
The
yeah.
programs, from what I understand, the programs made for creating games, they were not user friendly, and you had to be a professional to use them and to get them in the first place.
Yeah.
Uh,
Back in the day, yeah, many years ago.
yeah, yeah. Now it's
Boot up
so
Unity,
accessible.
boot up Godot. There you go.
Yeah,
Free. Yep.
yeah, and people are making all sorts of absolute dog water games because they're so easy to make. It's so easy to make
Yeah.
something very
Yeah.
rudimentary. So AI is just going to. It's just the next step in that. It's a very big step,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the next step in making things more accessible. But the
Yeah.
workload will never be easy
Yeah.
because now, like, we're still gonna work really hard. We're just gonna be able to do more for less.
Yeah.
I think that applies in the short term. But the thing is, like, you look at like the curve of technology growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
As the more we've gotten technology and automation, the more us as humans got pushed to like higher level jobs, right? So as you're saying, maybe you're not gonna sit and paint for 6 hours or 12
Mm-hmm.
hours or whatever it is. That's gonna be reduced. Maybe in 2 years, you're only gonna need to paint for 2 hours, and then a few years from that, you don't need to paint at all, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, it's like factory workers as an example, right? That's something that is almost dying out because a lot of this work got automated or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I feel like even at the higher level of creative and all that kind of stuff, that definitely still has the potential to be completely automated out, and you're gonna keep getting pushed up at higher levels. At some point, there's just no more higher levels. Like you're just that's it. Like you don't. There's nothing for you to
Robots
do. You know.
took over. We're in a robot
I don't
utopia.
know. Like
Yeah.
if I think of like an example of like filmmaking, I imagine a future where there's a service where you can just go on there and you don't there's not like a list of movies to choose from, but you just kind of click play and it just makes a movie on the spot,
Yeah.
and it knows
Yeah.
exactly what you like, and you just kind of watch it. Or same with a game or whatever.
Dream.
There's just
Oh my
exactly.
God.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I feel like that there is kind of
Yeah.
a line when that gets crossed, then none of that is going to apply anymore. Because if the AI is better than you in coming up with the ideas, in directing, designing game systems, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
then why are you even doing it? Like, just go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's better.
Well, God, I mean, there's more I could say on this, but I think we got to wrap it up. We're a few minutes over, so yeah, no, it was a good one. Thank you guys for stopping in. Brenton, Ziad, you guys have any closing remarks or whatever? Or I'm closing it out.
Watch
Or
that drop.
stop trying.
Watch Dead Drop.
Hey, there we
Hey,
go.
yeah, hey,
Yeah,
this
watch
guy.
Dead Drop.
Yeah, this guy just made a new action film, and it's awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
in it, and I die in like 2 seconds. It's great. So yeah, go
Yeah,
watch
he
it.
wanted to go home,
Favorite
so I
part.
Yeah, I had to go home and work on Conquest of Eldinar, so I'm like, you better kill me quick. So yeah, hey, in my defense though, I also did some cinematography on there, like the really bad looking shots. I did those ones. So
Yeah,
you
all
know.
of the horrible looking shots, you can thank that guy for.
Yeah, thank you for that. All right, anyways, I guess we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.